Hello and welcome you all in the class of zoology. In this video I will explain you about the digestive system of Amphioxus. So we are already known that Amphioxus are the primitive chordate, means they are the example of the protochordata. Protochordata are nothing but the primitive chordate. Okay, and in case of the primitive chordate, there is a having certain characteristic features which is also present in case of the true chordata, that is in the form of the notochord. So the notochord, they are also present in case of the Amphioxus, therefore they are the member of chordata. Today here I explain about the digestive system of the Amphioxus, or they are also known as the branchiostoma. Now in the earlier lecture I explained you about the external morphology of these animals, and in the external morphology of these animals we already known about the Amphioxus. They are looks like the fish, but they are not a fish. They are having the elongated body. They are having the two faces, the anterior face and the posterior face. At the anterior most end of the body there is a having the head, and toward the posterior end there is a having the tail. Okay, then at the anterior end of the body there is a below the head, that is there is a having the mouth. There is having the mouth, and the mouth they get covered by the velar organ. They are covered by the velar organs. Okay, so here in this diagrammatic presentation we observe the magnified view of the anterior end of body in a greatly enlarged views. So in this view we observe the magnified area of the anterior most end of the body in case of the Amphioxus. Now here there is a having the rostrum, that is the snout. Okay, and here there is a having the pigmented areas, and beside this there is a having, that is the Hatch's nephridiums. Okay, then here there is a having the most distinguishing structure in the form of the notochord. In the form of the notochord. Okay, then here below the head there is a having the velar organs, and these velar organs having the buccal cirri, or they are also known as the tentacles. Here is the velar organs. Then here these mouth, they are guarded by the oral hood, and the oral hood having the near about 10 pair of the tentacles, and the number of the tentacles increase as increase the age of the Amphioxus. Okay, then here these oral hood encircle or guard the mouth. Then the mouth gate opens into the, that is the buccal cavities, and in the buccal cavity there is a having the filter feeding organs. There is a having the filter feeding organs. These, that is these wheel organs, they are also having the cirri or the tentacles, okay, and these help to them for the filter feeding. These help for the filter feeding, okay. Then here there is a having, that is the anterior most end of the body. Now the digestive system of Amphioxus consists of mouth, buccal cavity, then pharynx, then esophagus, intestine, and lastly the anus. Okay, so here these diagrammatic presentation clearly shown that the mouth, they are having the oral hood, then the mouth, they are guarded by this oral hood, then in the buccal cavity there is a having the velar organs. These velar organs, they are actually used for the filter feeding. For your kind of information, Amphioxus are the filter feeding organism. They are lie in the burrow in the upright positions, and these velar organs continuously undergoes the beating, and the beating movement of these cilia help to for capturing the microorganisms which are present in the water, okay. Along with the water, these microorganisms entered here. That is only selected microorganisms, they make entry inside the pharynx through the buccal cavity, okay. Now digestive system of Amphioxus consists of head, then the pharynx, then beside the pharynx there is a esophagus, then the esophagus leads into the intestine, and intestine having the foregut, midgut and hindgut. Foregut, midgut and hindguts, okay. Now the buccal cavity leads into the pharynx with the help of a slit-like opening. They are known as the enterostomes in the velums, and through this velum the water and the microorganism, they make entry inside the pharyngeal chamber, or they are also known as the atrial chamber, or they are also known as the branchial chambers. Atrial chamber, pharyngeal chamber, or the branchial chambers, okay. So they are here in these chamber, that is in the pharyngeal chamber, there is a having the gill slits. There is a having the gill slits, okay. As we are already known that in case of the Amphioxus there is a having the gill slits, okay. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Here we observed the 15 gill slits in case of the Amphioxus, okay, and the number of the gill slits also has increased as the age of the Amphioxus. Now the alimentary canal consists of head bears the mouth, and buccal cavity. Buccal cavity leads into the pharynx with the help of the velum, okay. Now velums are nothing but the constricted area which is also guarded by the, that is the walls, and these walls help to them to prevent the backward movements of that is the water and food materials. Now from the velum the food make the entry inside the pharyngeal chamber. So the digestive system consists of head, then pharyngeal chamber, that is the alimentary canal. Actually this is not what the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal consists of the, that is the mouth gate opens into the mouth gate opens into the buccal cavity gate leads into the pharynx with the help of the enterostome in the velum. Okay, and from the enterostomes in the velum, means the food materials or the water entered into the pharynx. Pharynx leads into the esophagus, and esophagus leads into the intestine. In the intestine there is a digestion of the food materials that takes place, and from the intestine after the digestion the food material get reabsorbed by the wall of the intestine, and undigested food material get expelled outside the body with the help of the posterior opening. Here they are known as the anus. Okay, so here digestive system consists of an alimentary canal and digestive glands. Now the digestive systems are nothing but the particular part of the body. They are work in a collaborations. Okay, and here the digestive system consists of alimentary canal, that is, and the digestive glands or the digestive juices. Now alimentary canal is a straight tubes from mouth to the anus. Okay, it is lined by the ciliated epithelium. It is divisible into the mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus and intestine opening by an anus to the exterior. Okay, then the mouth, which is located at the anterior most end of the body. Mouth is located at the anterior most end of the body. Okay, here is the mouth, and this mouth get guarded by the oral hood. Mouth get guarded by the oral hood. Okay, then the mouth get leads, that is the buccal cavity. Okay, and the buccal cavity having the velar organs. These velar organs, they are nothing but the filter feeding organs. Velar organs are nothing but the filter feeding organs. Okay, and these buccal cavity leads into the, that is the pharynx with the help of the narrow openings. They are known as the enterostome in the velums. Enterostome in a velums. Okay, so mouth lies anteroventrally beneath the rostrum. It is large oval aperture bordered by the membranous oral hood. The oral hood is a form of anterior lateral projection of the trunk. Then the mouth gate leads into the buccal cavity or the vestibules. The mouth leads into the space enclosed by the oral hood lined by the ectoderm called as the buccal cavity or the vestibules, which is funnel shaped. The free margin of the oral hood is beset with 10 to 11 pairs of the oral cirri or the oral tentacles. Their numbers increase with the age and varies from animal to animal. These cirri are ciliated and also bear the sensory papillae. The margin of oral hood and the cirri are supported by the stiff gelatinous skeletal rods. The oral cirri remains converged inward to form a sieve over the mouth at the time of the feeding. Okay, thus they check the entry of the large particle of food into the vestibules. So they are known as the filter feeding organs. At the back of the vestibule is a vertical membranous velum having the hole in the middle known as the enterostome, and the enterostome leads into the pharynx. Enterostome is also called as the mouth. This, since the enterostome leads into the endoderm lining of the pharynx and not into an ordinary ectoderm line vestibules or stomodium, it cannot correspond to the mouth of the choroids. Hence the front opening into the vestibules is a true mouth in case of the Amphioxus. Okay, So molar organs, the epithelium, that is the ectodermal in origins of the oral hood, is projected to form the 6 to 8 pairs of the finger like folds, each having the ciliated grooves bordered by the ciliated ridge. These folds are the collective known as the wheel organs or the molar organs or rotary organs. Outer of these, the mid dorsal groove is the largest and end in a pit of the depression in the roof of the buccal cavity. This is called the Hatch's grooves and Hatch's pit respectively. Both are ciliated and glandular and secretes the mucus. Okay. Then velum and interostomes. At the posterior end of the buccal cavity is present a circular membranous velum. It is centrally perforated by the interostome which leads into the pharynx. The velum has circular muscles which act as a sphincter for opening and closing the interostome. The edge of the velum bears 12 or more slender ciliated velar tentacles which normally project backward forming the sternum. Now the velar, they are having the tentacles, okay, that is the velar velum and the interostome, there is the slit like openings, okay, they are also known as the interostomes. Then they get guarded by the velar, that is the slender ciliated velar tentacles which normally project backwards forming the sternum, and it inhibits the backward movements of the food material in case of the amphioxus. Now the pharynx is the largest chambers of the amphioxus. Okay, these chambers are also known as the branchial chambers. The pharynx is the large laterally compressed sacs occupying the nearly one half anterior part of the body. It is suspended in the atrial cavity which enclose it from all sides except the dorsal. Now the pharyngeal wall and gill slits. The lateral walls of the pharynx are perforated by more than 150 pairs of the gill clefts which bear no gills. The gill clefts are metameric vertical apertures when first formed in the larva, but each gets divided into the two new gill clefts and added with the age at the posterior end of the pharynx. Hence there is a number varies in different specimens between the gill clefts and the wall of the pharynx is known as gill bars or the gill lamellae. Okay, the pharyngeal gill bars are of two types, primary gill bars and the secondary gill bars or tongue bars. They alternate regularly and differ in their structure and mode of the development. A primary gill bar is formed of the tissue between two successive gill clefts after they have perforated to the exteriors. Now it is composed of the wall of the pharynx and the gill bar, it is composed of the wall of the pharynx and the body of wall of the larva. The secondary gill bar arises as a known as a down growth of the dorsal wall of the gill clefts. The wall grows downwards, dividing the original gill clefts into the two halves vertically. Both primary and secondary gill bars are covered on their external or outer surface of the sparsely ciliated ectodermal or atrial epithelium, but on their inner, anterior and posterior surface by endodermal pharyngeal epithelium which is heavily ciliated. The cilia on the anterior and posterior endodermal surface of the gill bars are long and called as the lateral cilia which propel water, and the cilia on the inner endodermal surface of the each gill bar form a long but narrow tracts of the frontal cilia which propel mucus in the pharyngeal chamber. In the middle, each gill bar has a mesodermic core of the connective tissue, blood vessels and the gill rods. Okay, here in this diagrammatic presentation we clearly understood what is the primary gill and the secondary gill. Okay, now here is the primary gill rods. Then they get here covered by the secondary gill rods. Okay, then they are interconnected with the synaptoculi. Okay, they get primary and secondary gill rod, they are interconnected with the synaptoculi. Okay, so now here is the branchiostoma, a part of the pharyngeal walls. Okay, now the gill bars are supported internally by the gelatinous skeletal gill rods. Internally they get, that is the primary and secondary gill, internally they get supported by the gelatinous skeletal gill rods. Here are the gill rods. All gill rods are united dorsally. Okay, all gill rods are united dorsally, but ventrally they are free ends. Ventrally there is a free ends. Here is the dorsal end and here is the ventral ends. Dorsal end become, that is the united, and posterior ends become free or opens. Okay, now ventrally their free ends are forked in the primary gill bars. Okay, in here they get a fork into the primary gill bars and unfork or simple in the secondary gill bars. Forked, they are known as the primary gill bar, and unforked are known as the secondary gill bars. Okay, the primary gill bars are connected to each other by transverse junction called as synaptocula. Primary gill bar, they are interconnected to each other with the help of the synaptocula, or they are also known as the synaptoculi. Okay, now the primary gill bars are connected to each other by the transverse junction called as the synaptocula, which also connect gelatinous rods and the blood vessels. The synaptocula develops only after the gill clefts are completed. They make the pharynx look like the baskets, somewhat like the branchial sac of the urochordates. So the pharyngeal walls, which is observed in the around the pharyngeal chambers, okay, and there is a having the primary gill rods and the secondary gill rods. Here in this diagrammatic presentation we clearly understood that the primary gill bars contain a narrow coelomic canals running throughout the length of each, communicating dorsally and ventrally with other corresponding coelomic space. They also have the 3 blood vessels in each running lengthwise. The secondary gill bars with simple gill rods have no coelom and only 2 blood vessels run through each of them. Okay, now they are ectoderm in origins. Here is the skeletal rods. The skeletal rods support these, that is the gill bars. Here we observe the transverse section of gill bar, that is the primary gill bar, and B is the secondary gill bars. A is the primary gill bars. Here ectoderm, they are having the ciliated epithelium. Okay, then here they are also get supplied with the blood vessels. Now onto their surfaces there is having the lateral cilia. Then anteriorly there is having the frontal cilia. Okay, then here faces there is having the pharyngeal slits. Then here they are supported by the skeletal rods. Then here there is having the coelomic canals through which there is transporting the coelomic fluids. Both primary and secondary gill bar, they are interconnected to each other with the help of the synaptoculums. Which is clearly shown here. Okay, so here about the primary and secondary gill bar. Now the epipharyngeal grooves, beside the ciliated gill bars, there are other ciliated tracts in the pharynx running mid-dorsally ciliated epipharyngeal groove, which leads into the opening of esophagus at the posterior end of the pharynx. Okay, there is, that is the pharynx gate leads into the esophagus. So beside the ciliated gill bars there are other ciliated tracts in the pharynx Running mid-dorsally is a silated epipharyngeal groove which leads into the openings of the esophagus at the posterior end of the pharynx. They are nothing but the endostyle. Okay. Now in the mid-ventral wall of the pharynx is a shallow groove called the endostyle. The endostyle is lined with the four longitudinal tracts of the glandular epithelial cell which secrete the mucus. These tracts are separated by the ciliated epithelial cells, of which the medium row of the cells bears very long cilia. The endostyle is supported below by the two gelatinous skeletal plates. Beneath these present a sub endostylar coelomic canal enclosing the ventral aorta. A similar endostyle is found in the urochordates and in the ammoset larva of the lampreys, but the larval endostyle is lost during metamorphosis of lamprey. It contributes to the formation of the thyroid glands in the adult, like thyroid glands of the vertebrate. It's also concentrate the radioactive iodines. Okay, so here there is a having the, that is endostyle, that is the junction where there is a pharynx and the esophagus. They are connected to each other. They are known as the endostylar regions. And when we observe the transverse section of endostyle, at that time we will infer that there is having the, that is median cilia, then there is having the primary gill bar, and here is the secondary gill bars. Then they are having gland cells and ciliated cells which is located centrally. Then the each gill bar, that is the primary and secondary, they get supported by the blood vessels. Okay, then here there is a having the skeletal plates. They get they provide the supports. Okay, now these endostyles leads into the, that is the esophagus. The peripharyngeal bands, the peripharyngeal grooves and the endostyles are joined to each other anteriorly by the two narrow ciliated peripharyngeal bands, each running on the lateral side wall of the pharynx behind the velum, and demarcated a narrow anterior peripharyngeal regions of the pharynx from the proper large posterior pharynx. It is devoid of the cilia and the gill slits. Now the pharynx gate leads into the esophagus. The next important part of the alimentary canal is nothing but the esophagus. The pharynx opens posteriorly into a straight narrow ciliated esophagus followed by a wide midgut or intestine. Now the intestine is a long tube suspended in the atrium by the dorsal mesentery arising from the dorsal body wall. It is continued into a narrow hindgut opening by anus lying slightly to the left, where the caudal fin begins, arising ventrally from the junction of esophagus and the midgut is blind pouch called as the midgut diverticulum, which extend in front of the right of the pharynx. Now the midgut diverticulum, they are involved in the synthesis and secretion of the enzymes, so they work similar to that of the livers in case of the higher vertebrates. The entire gut is suspended from the dorsal body wall by dorsal mesentery. The gut has the lining of the epithelial cells and thin covering of the smooth muscles. The gut has several internal ciliated tracts in its lining. There is a crescent shaped lateral tracts of the cilia. Okay. Now here the pharynx, they leads into the esophagus. Then in the central regions of the, there is having the food cords. Esophagus further leads into the midgut of the intestine. Then midgut further leads into the hindgut, and here they get open exterior with the help of the anus. This arrow indicates the movements of the transportation of the food particles from pharynx to the esophagus. Here in the pharyngeal chamber, the food material, they are present along with the water, they are weighted and move toward the forward direction. Okay, so here from the pharynx they move toward the esophagus, and here in the esophagus there is a, that is the transportation of the food particles toward the intestine. Intestines having the two regions, midgut and the hindgut, and posteriorly there is having the anus. Now the food particles, they are continuously undergoes in the bolus formations, and here there is a mixing of the food material with the mucus and the enzymes which is required for the digestion of the food materials. Okay, so these food cords, they are transported here in the intestine. Internal intestine having the ciliated walls, so the beating of these cilia, the food material, the transported here toward the hindguts. Here there is a having the ilico-coli rings which push the food material forwardly. Okay, and from this region the food material, they are transported toward the hindguts, and from the hindguts they expel outside the body, that is the undigested food material, they get expelled outside the body. So the digestive glands, they are occurred in the alimentary canal of Amphioxus, the midgut diverticulum. Midgut diverticulum, here is the midgut diverticulum which is present at the junction of the, that is pharynx. Okay, that is the esophagus leads into the, there is having a very short part, they further leads into the intestine, and here there is a constricted regions are present, and here in this region there is having the buccal diverticulum. Okay, that is known as the midgut diverticulum, sorry, midgut not a buccal diverticulum, it is a midgut diverticulum, is often called as the liver or hepatic cecum, but it does not resemble a liver in structure or function, though its blood vessels are somewhat like those found in the liver of the vertebrates. The midgut diverticulum is a digestive gland and is comparable to a vertebrate pancreas, as we are already known that these midgut diverticulum, they are involved in the secretion and synthesis of the digestive juices which is required for the digestion of food materials in the alimentary canal of of the Amphioxus or the Bronchiostoma. Now the food, now the question get rise in our mind that what is the food of the Amphioxus? For your kind of information, the Amphioxus are the filter feeding animals. They get feeds onto the small microscopic organism which is present in the water bodies, that is the Branchiostoma. Feeds on the protozoans, diatoms, algae, desmids and other organic particles suspended in the seawater. The feeding in case of the Amphioxus takes place, that is by the ciliary feeders. Action of the cilia of the pharynx causes the current of water containing the food. The current of water enters the mouth and goes to the pharynx, and from here it passes through the gill clefts into atrial cavity, and then it goes out through the aperture of the atrial cavity called as the atriopore. In feeding, the oral hood is extended and oral cirrhi are turned inwards. They prevent the sand from entering in the mouths. Okay, only the selected material will be entered in the buccal cavity because of there is having the velar organs. Now in case of the Branchiostoma or the Amphioxus course of the feeding, current in diagrammatic transverse section of the pharynx are shown here. Okay, Now here at the one end there is a epipharyngeal grooves, and to the another end there is a metapleural folds. Okay. Now here at the base there is having the endostyles. Then the pharyngeal chamber, they are present in the atrium, inside the atrium, or they are also known as the atrial chambers. Then here there is a having the gill slits. Then the gill slit, they are having the primary and secondary gill bars. Then here there is a centrally having the pharyngeal cavities. Then the food material, they are moved forwardly due to the cilia which is present onto the gills. Okay. Now rotary movements of the cilia of Hiller organ direct waters toward the pharynx, but some food particles fall out of the water current. They are mixed with the mucus secreted by the grooves of the H6 and the pass back into the pharynx. When the main water current passes through the enterostome into the pharynx, mainly due to the lateral cilia of the gill bars, the suspended food particles fall on the gill bar, where they get entangled in mucus secreted mainly by the endostyle and to some extent by the pharyngeal epithelium. Mucus secreted by the endostyle is transferred to the lateral wall of the pharynx by its lateral rows of the cilia. The medium row of the long endostylar cilia keeps supplying mucus to the lateral rows of the cilia endostyle. These cilia lash outwards through the mucus on the lateral wall of the pharynx. The frontal cilia of the gill bars beat along the length of the bars in such a way that they propel mucus from the lateral to the mid dorsal side of the pharynx. In this way, a stream of the mucus with food particles passes from the lower side into the epipharyngeal grooves. The cilia of the epipharyngeal grooves beat backwards, moving the cords of the mucus and food into the esophagus are takes place. The peripharyngeal bands also collect and pass the epipharyngeal grooves and food particles which falls out the water currents at the extreme anterior end of the pharynx. Okay. Now the digestion of the food material. Digestive enzymes are secreted by the epithelial cells of the gut and midgut diverticulum. They are mixed with the food as it passes along. The digestion starts in the midgut and is continued in the hindgut. Okay. Besides this extracellular digestion, intracellular digestion also occurs, in which food particles are taken into the epithelial cells of the hindgut and digested there. Some papillae on the floor of the atrium contain the phagostyle cells which engulfs the food particles which may pass into the atrial cavity. Absorption of the digested food material takes place mostly in the hindgut and to lesser extent in the midguts. Okay. Now in this diagrammatic presentation we will clearly understood that the transverse section of branchiostoma through the oral hoods. Okay. Here is the oral hood. Then here is the buccal cirri. In this buccal cirri there is having the tentacles. Okay, and the beating of these tentacles, due to this there is a water current will be generated in the body of that is in the in case of the Amphioxus. Okay, thank you so much for listening and patiently of my video lectures. Okay, so next time I will explain you about the next topic of these unit.